Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Living Better with Joe and Kat podcast. This is podcast number 7, and in today's podcast, we're going to just be having some general chit-chat, and Kat has some subjects she wants to talk about. How's it going, Kat? What are we talking about today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. I have discovered the endless possibilities of Airbnb this week. I don't know if I'm going through a midlife crisis or if I just want to dive into solo travel. And Stephen, I know you have your concerns about solo travel because I'd be a lady out in the world. Joey, you're over there making motions. What do you have to say? Welcome, Joe.
Oh, well, hi guys. How you doing today? Hope everybody's having a good day out there. I don't know. I have my concerns about it, but I don't think Kathy and I have ever stayed in an Airbnb before, but I'd be open to do it.
No, we have. When we went to Portland with Mike and Carrie.
Oh, that's right. We did. That
was a wonderful experience.
When we did the dinner cruise on the Portland Spirit, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds like a good experience.
That was good.
So Airbnb's kind of cool.
Yeah, Airbnbs are good.
So here's my dilemma. And you guys can, I guess, look at me with the mysterious eyes of
The weird look.
Oh my God, she's going through a midlife crisis. I am not going through a midlife crisis. I have always had it set in my heart that okay, it sounds really weird, but liquidate everything down into money and just go be in the world and travel. I don't know why that sounds so appealing to me, but it's been something in my mind and heart for just a super long time. I'm not going to liquidate everything down. I just need to know, is there a way it's possible for me to travel where I can be on a realistic budget, and solo travel, you're only paying for one. And with Airbnb, I'm thinking, okay, I want to go somewhere in the world that's safe. I don't want to go somewhere where it's, high crime, or I'm a woman walking into a world where there's disrespect, or I have no ability to make choices. So, of course, I'm looking at safe things. So what I did this week is I opened up Airbnb. I left the filter on anywhere. And it came up with Tbilisi, Georgia, the country that neighbors Russia and Turkey. Yeah. It's Eastern Europe.
And so what did your research show? Is it a safe place to travel to? Is the people nice? Is the food great? I mean...
Amazingly, I was reading some different bloggers that have... Do what now?
I was going to say, isn't there like the Turkish Kurds over there or something? Or
not in this area.
Like fighting, or is this in a different area?
It's a different area. It is a country that has been war-torn. It has had its... When Russia broke away from the USSR communism, Georgia has had its issues in the past, but this particular city is the capital city. And I was reading some blogger notes, and they were saying that it's kind of like Bend, Oregon, which is where we're at. It's high tourism. And whenever you have places that want to focus on high tourism, they do have safety. And it did say on there that this town, Tbilisi, is a safe place to travel. I think that Eastern Europe has got some little gems in there that might be able to be discovered and unraveled. The food, they said, was great. They don't like it when we attach our Western labels. They have some sort of dumpling dish, but they don't like it when we call it dumplings. I would need to learn what it's called.
There's
so I could order it.
Proper name for it.
Right, because you don't want to insult the locals by going, "Oh my God, it's a dumpling,"
Right.
Oh, don't stereotype country people. Can't be doing that.
No, I mean, I'm from Oklahoma. I have a natural accent, so I'm gonna go, pass that dumpling. When actually it's, their like heritage dish, and it said in the blog, they don't like it when you call it dumpling, and they don't like it when they have like a bread that's encrusted that has like meat and cheese into it. Mm-hmm. We might look at it more like a a double stuffed pizza or a calzone. They don't like it when you call it that. They want it called whatever it is. It begins with the letter K. They want it called that. So when you order it, you need to order it as that. So, of course, there's going to be some cultural sensitivity, things that I would need to look at. Pardon me. And then I was looking at maybe traveling down to southern Italy, onto Sicily, because the prices for an Airbnb for a whole month, you can find like a whole loft apartment that's under $600 for a whole month.
Wow, it's cheap.
I'm thinking, should we travel for retirement?
I would want to see some reviews on it though, for sure. Like what sort of area is it in, and what's the money? Like, how's the money different than it is up here? And you want to get a good deal, of course, but you also want to be in like a safe area, or I don't know. There's some research into that, because I just watched a vlogger today on YouTube. And I think I sent you the link to his video, but he was in Sicily and he rented out a 3-story apartment there, and it was $600 for the night. And as I watched the video, he had to walk in between these super thin walls, and he's a pretty thin guy, but it was like just going to get to the apartment. And honestly, I'm a bigger set guy.
I would look like a fat rat going down the maze, getting stuck as it narrowed.
Oh, God, no, not Ratatouille.
Ratatouille.
So, I would definitely want to look into it more. And that's where I have, I use the internet to gain a lot of knowledge. And that's where I try to share that with you. And especially Joe as well, because there's so much we can learn from others, and either their mistakes where they've traveled to, or seeing where they've been that's been really touching to them, or they've had a good time that's maybe a place that's off the beaten path. Not just going to Jamaica, or where else is a common place people like to travel.
Well, we've been to the Dominican a couple of times, down to Mexico. Different places, Cancun, the Cancun side, the Caribbean side, and then also the Pacific side.
But checking out
over to Cabo.
What were those islands, like the Indonesian islands, or over in Asia? Isn't there some islands over there?
Well, over in Thailand, they have a whole chain of of islands that you can go to that are south of Bangkok. You fly into Bangkok, but then you take the local travel down to the island.
Where do they what island do they do Survivor on? I know they've changed it up a few islands, but recently, in the most recent scenes, it's Tanoa and something like this. It's a really tropical island, though. I would imagine it would be a good place to go and travel to, perhaps.
What?
Well, go ahead, Joey.
What about going to Nepal?
I sent you a video on Nepal. He's in Nepal right now.
Yeah.
Haraldur Baldur, and he is a very interesting YouTube vlogger. Recommend you guys to check him out. But being in Nepal, he showed off the cheap rooms, the mid-priced rooms, and now the high-priced rooms.
So how much was it there to stay a month?
I didn't watch the video in its whole wholesome part, but he explained it in there. So I'd recommend go and check out his channel and find a video that applies to you in your travels, and then you can see he's doing an in-depth review of the $5 room per night, the cheap room. So when you want to stay for a month, it's really a minimal price. But he'll also show you what the drawbacks are to its location, and maybe you as a Western person, you're not used to the standards of living in some of these areas, especially the cheaper living. Or in Asia, I know they squat to go poop in a hole. You lose the toilet. God.
Well,
to us, that's weird. But to them, that's normal.
Well, I think that's why when you're looking at Europe, whether it's Central Europe, Eastern Europe, or even Western Europe, going over to England and Scotland and Ireland, I want to go to these places. I guess there's some part of me that's just really yearning to have my senses stimulated in such a different way, to just smell different air, see different things, hear different things, taste different things. I'm just really kind of yearning to be out in the world. Am I having a midlife crisis?
I don't know, Joe. What do you think?
Well, this is what I think. I think that my lovely wife is retired now, and she has more time on her hands to do the things that she wants to do, and I support that if that's what she wants to do.
I appreciate that.
I'm willing to continue to stay here and work my business with my son so that we can get that, up and going real well, and when we get to a place where we can have an employee or two where I can go and travel with you, I think that would be awesome.
Well, I think it would be fun to experience the world with my very best friend. But I also understand that if you're at a place where you're not able to do that, I'm at a place where I do want to go do that.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the understanding and the support for me to be able to have the ability to do that. I don't know if it's an itch that once I scratch it, it'll feel good, or maybe it's an itch and it'll turn into like an urticaric rash, and I'm going to be wanting to go more.
I think it'll be more like the Mrs. Maisel season 2 with the parents, where Mrs. Maisel, the dad wasn't listening to the mom when she was talking. He was just busy in work, and she ran off to France and for like months at a time, and then they came back and they got back together, and they were like. They were happy.
He stayed in France.
They were happy
with her.
again, and they stayed in France for a little bit. But didn't they end up coming back to Americas because they were like, "Oh, screw this place, Harold. Let's go back to New York or whatever." And they ended up coming back. And so I think you will go and see another side, and you get to enjoy another lifestyle.
And find that home is really home. Yeah.
But you may also just need to go on like a week or too long vacation. I don't know how a month will make it any different. I guess if you had things to do in that time.
That's what I want to do. I don't want to just go somewhere and just hang out. I want to go somewhere and I want to experience it. Like in Tbilisi, Georgia, they have like the cable cars that go up the mountains. They have a lake near town. They have different food.
So I'm telling you right now, okay, that the guy I sent you, Geraldo Balder, he, for a living, makes his money off of YouTube, okay? And the channel right now, Living Better Joe and Cat, isn't making money at any point, right?
No,
not at
we're doing
point.
this for fun.
And this is for fun and documentation, and also just hanging out with anybody that wants to listen,
Yeah.
Shout out to who? Right, Joe?
Shout out to my brother Bo.
Yeah, there you go.
Because we know
Thank
you're
you,
listening
brother.
in touch.
I know you're listening to us.
But he travels around and makes videos on YouTube. But he just travels. He's been traveling for years now.
Mm-hmm.
And in every video, he's in a different place, it seems. Or sometimes his videos will stay in one place because he's there for like a week or so. But then he's on to another country. And it's unique to see him travel and record his experience because people like me that... I want to travel someday, but I'm also a young man trying to build a business and save money and get ahead in life.
How can I airdrop my videos to you to post since you're the producer?
Right, you're gonna. But I'm saying you'll have to record some videos while you're gone because I'm sure the people that follow the channel would enjoy seeing some content while you're out of town as well in that time. But even if you just did a video a week and showed something off that you like on your trip. And or a place that you enjoy, or maybe interview a local or something like that. But I've sent you those videos, and I hope
can't wait to
you
watch
check them out.
I really appreciate
it's
all of your research.
Yeah,
I really do, because I don't want to go out as a somebody that's super naive or somebody. I mean, I've traveled a little bit, but it's always been with girlfriends or family. And so if I do dive into solo travel, I think it's there's something. It has its what do you say, trepidation. You do have your nervousness about it, but to me, it's more like the adventure.
So
I look at it more as an adventure.
Here's 2 tips, okay, that I have seen from 2 different videos. So this tip came from both of those videos. And they say pack light when you go on a trip.
Absolutely.
Because when you're walking around the streets of Sicily or wherever you're at, okay, with a whole bunch of luggage and suitcases, it says, look at me, I'm a tourist, I'm a target. And so 2 of the people, one of them was a lady, one of them was a man, they said pack light, just to have maybe a backpack with everything you need in it. And I know a lot of like the one baggers on Reddit, they do that, just
I've
one
been
bag.
looking at that. Mm-hmm.
Really cool stuff. But they say travel there, right? When you get into Sicily, go to a store. spend some money and buy some clothes that's there, because every country has its own clothing, its own style. And they say you'll be less of a target to maybe a pickpocketer because you look like more of an expat versus looking like a tourist getting off a plane. And they were giving some different tips like that. And I sent you those videos, and there's so many on YouTube.
Right.
And as you travel and you learn a lesson or two, you'll be able to make a video, post it on the channel, and share it for the viewers and listeners that we have.
Right.
And we'll have to figure out how to do a podcast, or we'll pre-record for that time. But,
Yeah, that would be cool.
yeah.
Well,
Skype
you know,
photo.
as I was looking at Airbnb, you know how they have the advertisements that roll and stroll up?
Oh.
There was the advertisements for pickpocket-proof clothes, where you have like double zipper compartments that you would, you know, like keep your ID and your credit cards and your cash and your phone. Because, I mean, if you think about what do I have to have if I'm going to travel? Well, you got to have your documentation, you need to have a source of money, and you also, for, you know, modern day travel, you need to have a phone so that you can even have a translator in your pocket, or be able to look up where the bus stations are, that kind of stuff, or trains.
One of the ladies that was doing a video for maybe like more women traveling was expressing like, I don't know if there's a name for this purse, so I'll describe it for you.
Okay.
It's like maybe a handbag, I guess, but like, no, does a purse have a zipper and
They
a
have
handbag doesn't?
No.
Like, what, is there a difference, or are those just all purses?
My friend Afton, she bought a purse when she went over to Europe with her boyfriend, because he's from Germany.
Yes.
And she bought a body crossover purse
And that was recommended in
that
the video
had
as well.
a cut proof strap,
Yes.
so somebody couldn't come up and just snip it and grab your purse and bzz, it's off of you. It also had some sort of hook that hooks onto a particle of either your jacket, your clothing, a harness. I'm not sure, but it makes it where your purse is outside, where it's accessible for you, but it's not going to be just taken off your body.
So what I was getting to with that would be that the handbags that are open that don't zip are prime for pickpocketers.
Right, like a tote. Those
A
are
tote.
totes.
There
Yeah.
you go. Okay. So
Yeah.
not a purse. A purse would be a zippered one, perhaps,
Right.
and then a tote
Just
would
has
be
a snap in the
like,
middle.
like one of those bags you would take to the beach or something.
Right, like an open top
Definitely
bag.
don't want to have those,
Right.
especially with pickpocketers. And another one that was really big was like Prague, Czech Republic, right?
Oh, yeah?
There is scams that go on there with money, and that they'll either give you really bad exchange rates down in like the public centers when you
I've
do your
experienced
money.
that in Mexico.
And also, there was like the video I sent you was more recent, and this guy goes around catching scams in Prague because he wants to make his country stand out and bring tourists in.
Right.
And I think you should go check that place out potentially. It looks like a great
Right.
place to visit. But there was these guys selling, I forget, I think they call them rubles. But it's like 1,000 rubles, and they would say, "Oh, give me 40 euros," and they give you 1,000 rubles. But this currency is worthless in
Is it
the
counterfeit?
Czech. I don't know if it's counterfeit or it's from like a neighboring country, because there's like a country that's really close that these guys come in to the Czech Republic and then sell it to tourists, making the Czech Republic have a bad name for itself. And during the video, you could see like an Asian lady that was on vacation come up and was like asking where's her money, that this wasn't accepted. And so stuff like that. And so being educated before you go on your trip.
Right.
Look up the area you're going. Look up the scams in that area.
Right.
Be aware, and then know where you need to go to get your money and where the best exchange rates are. Because maybe at the airport, when we went to Dominican
banks.
Republic, right? Wasn't it more of an exchange rate or something like that at the airport versus the bank?
Well, when we went to the Dominican, we know, first of all, what. Sorry, Joey, we're leaving you out on this.
No, go ahead. I'm intrigued.
Okay.
Joe.
Well, let me back it up. When the girls went to Mexico and we went to dinner in town, none of us had bothered to get the peso, the Mexican peso, because everybody takes American dollars down there. And we found out that when we went to dinner, I mean, clearly we're American. We're speaking English, and we're tourists. It's very obvious. And at this restaurant, they gave us a different price if you pay in U.S. dollars. So we would have saved probably about 25% on our meal if we would have paid in pesos, because if you're paying with dollars, they give you a higher rate. So that's what I learned when we were in Mexico. So then when you and I went to the Dominican, Stephen, and Afton, this friend that has the crossover body bag, shout out Afton, she met us down there, and she met us at the airport, and I loved that trip because she had been there before and she already had lay of the land, and we didn't get a cab or a shuttle to take us to the hotel. She met us at the airport and she showed us how to ride the Wawa, which, did you like that, Stephen?
Yeah, it was fairly enjoyable. But see, that's an example of somebody that is a female solo traveler. She was confident, stayed out of trouble. You know, she maybe checked for her surroundings, right? And she was knowledgeable about the area.
And she made friends with
she
an
was
expat.
knowledgeable about the scams, right?
Yeah.
On the Wawa,
Yeah,
where
'cause
they would
she
charge
stood-
you more.
She stood there
There's-
and argued that she was going to pay the
It's-
25 cents basically
and,
versus 50
or even the
cents.
taxi. She's like, don't get a taxi from the airport in the Dominican. I mean, you can, right? But you're going to be paying like pretty ridiculous prices compared to the Wawa, where you're packed in there, but you get culture.
That was
you
the
get everything.
experience.
But although I sometimes wonder, how does the people of the Dominican feel when like us tourists are getting on like their public transport, their Wawas? I guess they wouldn't be bothered by that, because if they were in our country, we wouldn't be bothered by them using ours. But it's just, it was different on the Wawa. You were so packed in. It's like, for the people listening out there, I'll try to describe it. It's a van
made for like
what
9
sort of
people.
van is that though? Like a VW van or something? Or
I thought you guys said you took a bus and everybody.
No,
got
it's not a bus.
It's so think of like a Ford
Like a
Ecoline
church van. It's like a church van.
And it had, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 rows seatings.
Three rows, I think.
It was 3 or 4 rows. I think they put an extra row up front. But anyway, it was packed. I mean, how many people? I mean, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, plus the dude that stands on the outside.
But there was probably
and
20
the
people
driver.
in there, not
It
11.
was ridiculously packed, but that was kind of fun.
But you know what? It cost us 50 cents to go from Puerto Plata over to the other town that was in between, and then over to Cabarete. We went through.
But see, here if you would have went there without Afton, okay,
I would have never rode the
you
Wawa.
would have never known that. So my question is, how do you figure this stuff out as a solo
Before you
traveler?
go.
I think you either learn it before you go, or you just get there, make some friends, and they teach you. I bet that's how Afton learned.
Afton learned it. She made friends, and the lady that she was staying with at the Airbnb that she set up, that lady met her and showed her how to ride the Wawa. And then Afton met another person that was from England that was in her same age bracket, that they went out at night together. But this is what I have to say about our trip, is that us riding on the Wawa, I truly enjoyed that cultural interaction. I mean, you guys were laughing at me, but whenever we'd get on the Wawa, I would stop at the grocery store and buy cookies. I was like the cookie person. And I would ask everybody around me, would you like a cookie? I mean, it was like a party when we got on there. Everybody was loving the cookies.
Sounds fun.
You know, when we were getting on at the grocery store, there was an elderly couple that was getting on, and the guy that was organizing us on the Wawa, taking the money and telling us assign our seating. He asked us if we would go and ride in the back seat, because he was making space for this elderly couple that had a walker. I was not offended at all. I actually it really touched me that they looked out for their older people. Right. That really touched me. And as a society, I was honored to move out of the way, even though I was the tourist and they were trying to make space and make it a good experience for us.
That's the right thing to do.
So it was the right thing to do. I want to
ask, Joe, if you wanted to go and travel right now, where would you go? Because we got about 5 more minutes on our podcast, and we haven't got to hear a lot from you. So we've heard from Kat and where she wants to travel, and she's talked about the benefits of Airbnb. Now, I know you want to go and travel, and as we grow our business, obviously, you're going to get more time off. And so when you get that time off here in the future, where are some places that you want to go check out? And would you be willing to stay at an Airbnb, or how exactly would you do that?
I wouldn't have a problem staying at an Airbnb. And I let you guys talk today because this was a trip that you and your mom took, so I didn't really experience the great things that you guys did. But I love Mexico.
Well,
I
when we
like
went to Cabo, what was it that
Cabo,
really stuck out to you?
People were friendly, nice.
Was it the fancy service? Kind of
It,
getting
it's well, anytime
right?
you go to a all-inclusive resort, you're going to get the best service,
The
right?
fancy service.
What I thought was kind of cool is when we were going down to do the dinner cruise, which we didn't get to go on because the boat broke, which was probably a good idea, so we didn't drift out to sea. But just walking downtown and the Policia in Mexico, Cabo, was very nice and was directing us where we needed to go.
He actually hailed a cab for us.
He got a cab for us and everything, and I was just like, holy cow, wow, what a...
So you got to experience...
Well, hang on, let me finish. All the things that I heard about Cabo, Mexico was negative from people
Before we went.
And I thought, I was a little uptight about that, and I thought, I'll get down there, I'll see it for myself. And I did. And you guys, I have to tell you, it was the greatest experience ever. Is there other places in the world that I would like to travel? Yes.
That was your first time out of the country.
That was
your
my
whole
first time.
life.
Yeah.
And just like me in the Dominican, I was like, wow, this is crazy to be out of your area, I guess, and in a different culture.
You're in a foreign country.
But at the same time, I think there's even better places to go than the Dominican. Not hating on the Dominican whatsoever.
No,
it was
wonderful.
A different cultures to experience, and I think you've tried Mexico now, and also you have experienced the resort life, the lavish life of going on vacation. Now, what is your thoughts on going and doing, like, not necessarily solo traveling, but dual traveling with you two, but more of like a single bag? You take a backpack with your stuff in it, you buy clothes there, and that's it. And you go on traveling and you stay Airbnbs and you go from place to place.
I would love that.
And you don't have a resort you stay at. But you had I guess, what are your thoughts on that?
Again, I would love to go to stay in an Airbnb. I like the resorts because I feel like...
But just taking like one bag with you and doing
I
more
would
of that,
be okay
like
with
lightweight
that.
travel.
I would be okay with that because most of the places you go have washer and dryers. Right, especially at the resorts.
You wash it in the sink and let it air dry, drip dry.
However, you have to do it.
Maybe.
If you go over to Turkey, I mean, I'm sure they probably
The reason I laugh about him taking one bag is that when we did travel, we did both take one bag.
Who?
You and I.
Yeah.
But you were very gentlemanly and let me put my wedge shoes and a few of my things in his bag.
True, that's true. But it worked. And the resorts, I like going to the resorts because I feel like that you really get pampered. And I haven't had a lot of that in my life. So it was really kind of nice to be able to go to the all-inclusive and, have your drinks, have your food, and, just experience their culture.
And, I'd like to... what are we doing on time here? We doing pretty good?
Maybe a couple minutes.
I'd like to say thank you to all my girlfriends that I've traveled with out of the country. My daughter, my son, my husband, because I think that those experiences have maybe, brought my wings away from my body a little bit, and I'm kind of flapping them. I want to try and go experience some things. And this isn't more like the eat, pray, love. I don't feel like I'm going to find myself. I just want to go out and I want to stimulate all my senses and see things that are different.
I have a question. Now, this is only kind of prevalent right now. Today's date is February 7th, 2020. So if you're listening to this, 6 months, a year, I mean, things could be different. But right now they have that, coronavirus, a Wuhan virus kind of spreading. Now, I know it's killing a lot of people in China. And a lot of people went traveling for the Lunar New Year. And that's kind of a bigger deal right now. And I think it's killing more, elderly people, young children.
It's 28,000 people that's been killed.
It went up to 28,000.
Are you sure?
28,000.
Well, it was.
Is that 28,000 that's been infected?
No. 28,000 that's been infected, and out of the 28,000, I think they said 5,000 has died.
Okay. Well, we got our producer here looking up some stats.
I'll look it up right now.
But, Stephen, I do understand the concern you're having with, an outbreak, especially when the World Health Organization is declaring it an epidemic, and our country is flying people in right now. they're evacuating them out of the country, and they're putting them on Air Force bases because the CDC is trying to contain this, because we don't want it to be something that just goes, wildfire crazy because of air travel. Yep. I actually have a lot of appreciation for the organizations that are keeping their fingers on the pulse, that are making plans so that we can keep it contained.
Yeah.
Okay, so I saw from CBS, I'm not as good as Jamie from Joe Rogan, but CBS said 600 people have died, I believe is what I was seeing there.
And the whistleblower doctor that was alerting we have a problem, he died from it. He was a Chinese doctor.
Yeah, this all has to be looked up. So everyone take this with a grain of salt. But anyway, my point being is, with such a virus being out there, I know there's the flu and standard things, but doesn't that concern you a little bit on traveling? And would that hamper your traveling until the outbreak got contained?
Well, at this point, like you say, we're into February. If I were to plan a trip, I'd probably be planning the trip more towards April, May.
But what if it gets worse then? Because it's still growing. And what would you recommend, potentially other travelers that are, thinking about, wanting to set a trap? Because isn't it you plan your trips ahead of time, with your flights, and you get them cheaper,
right?
And your hotels, everything's cheaper,
right?
But you would, what happens if something you wouldn't want to fly then because the virus got worse?
Well, first of all, I'm not going to a banned area, which would be China and the Asian continent. I'm not traveling there. I realize that Eastern Europe does kind of border towards the Asian borders, but there's mountain ranges in between it. I've even, I just have to say, I'm not going to let fear, dictate how I'm going to choose my life, because I could catch something here. I could be killed in a car. I want to live my life. I don't want to live it recklessly, and I don't want to live it foolishly, because it is such a treasured gift. But I also am not going to, it'd be like saying, are you going to go take a vacation in Syria while they're bombing out the cities? Yeah, no, I'm not going to go buy a ticket to Syria while they're doing bombings. If I were going to be going to Syria during bombings, it would be for a humanitarian effort to maybe work in a hospital and try and help the victims. I would suffer along them, though, because there would not be food. There would be the potential of being gassed by the people that are doing gas bombing. So no, I'm telling you, my travel does. I don't want to go and experience war-torn countries.
But even with the virus, you should still be careful.
Absolutely.
I'm seeing here, this is CNN, right? So we got to take this with a grain of salt. It is CNN after all. But it says right here, this was posted 3 hours ago, scientists say coronavirus vaccine may be ready by 2021. So that's kind of exciting. At least we have scientists and super smart people out there finding a cure or something to help, a vaccine, should I say.
I think too, working in the healthcare field for the decades that I've worked in it, just recently we had the H1N1 virus, within 5 years ago.
Yeah.
We had people with H1N1 in our ICU that were sick. And I still have to show up to work. You take your precautions, you wash your hands. People that are in isolation are treated with isolation. And even SARS virus, the SARS virus went running through, and then you had the bird flu, and
there's always going to be some kind of virus coming through.
So right here, this is 43 minutes ago. Evacuees. Okay, I think that's how you'd say that. From Wuhan arrived safely in Texas.
I heard that.
They pulled this. So the U.S. government is pulling Americans out of Wuhan, especially Wuhan, because that's where the outbreak initiated.
Americans to Air Force bases.
So, and Norwegian Cruise Line bans anyone holding Chinese, Hong Kong, or Macau passports. I probably just butchered that, but it's unique, and so I think
I appreciate the fact that we have
the CDC
organizations.
Oh my gosh, yes.
That we America has a plan to bring home their American tourists, and they do have to sit in a 2-week
Quarantine.
quarantine.
Well, and to put it in perspective, I was seeing from one of the news sources that I like that's pretty neutral. I don't like, Fox News, CNN, going to all these places, but I go to Philip DeFranco, and he's on
Okay.
YouTube, and he was saying that annually, or like this year alone, there's been 10,000 deaths from just the flu.
Right.
And so compared to even the 600, if that number was accurate from the first website, it's really not that bad. But the fact that it's still out there, I think being careful, because it has spread to a lot of like other countries around China. And so, traveling to Europe is maybe, and even being in an international airport, it makes me wonder.
Riding
But that's
anywhere
for just now.
in an airplane during flu season,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
at risk.
I
Last year,
won't fly flu
last
season.
year I came home from visiting my brother in Oklahoma, and I was sick. I got sick, and I brought it home to you guys, and I apologize for that. Right now, my brother.
I felt like I was gonna die.
This year, I just went in December to go visit
You
my
didn't
brother.
bring home anything.
Well, while I was there,
They had
the mama came down with strep. It went through the 4 kids and everybody, and then the household tested positive for flu type B, and then right now they're at the tail end
Point
of
being,
flu type A.
you didn't
So by the
bring
time,
home.
no, I didn't bring it home because I left before the flu got through there. But I'm going to be going to a wedding in Oklahoma in like 6 weeks. And I'm really happy to know.
Shout out to Adam.
Yeah. Hey, Adam. Coming to your wedding, baby.
Yeah, I really hope I can go, but I don't know with all the work, but we'll see how this goes.
You guys are really
But-
ramping your business up,
But
and I'm proud of you.
Definitely, it's flu season, so you gotta take your
Well,
precautions.
by the time I go, it's going to be done. And thank goodness it'll be all the way done and circulated out of my brother's house unless it morphs into something else.
But that doesn't mean you can't catch it on the airplane.
On the airplane.
So
what if
I
I
have a
deliver
question.
something to
Would
them
you
because I
Would you
fly?
consider wearing one of those face masks when you're on the airplane to prevent like illnesses coming in, or would that protect you?
Not
'Cause
really.
You know, I'm not in the medical industry, so I don't know. But you maybe know more about that. Would wearing a mask help prevent?
You would have to wear one of those specialized masks that block out like TB. It's basically like a TB mask. People that are wearing just those masks, like a surgical mask or something that you can buy at the grocery store or the drugstore, those you're still breathing air in over the top and around the sides. It is not blocking out microns or virus. It's not that kind of protection.
Well, on that note,
Well, we're
Well-
going to have to sign off because we've gone a little over today.
Yeah, next time we'll touch on things that we didn't touch on, like what do we do when we go traveling, and if we get sick and have to go into a hospital, and how's our health care, our crappy health care, going to pay for that?
It doesn't.
It doesn't. So what do you do in a situation
Well, you can buy
like that?
insurance, traveler's insurance.
Okay.
but we'll be covering that next time. So make sure to come and see us on the next podcast. That'll be podcast number 8.
Yes, and just to let you guys a reminder that on Mondays we have Man Monday, and on Wednesdays we have Woman Wednesdays, videos that we publish and put out with just little tidbits of this, that, and the other. You can find us on our YouTube channel. It's called Living Better with Joe and Kat. And then, of course, you have these podcasts on Apple iTunes and Google Podcasts.
Very good.
But all in all of this is put together because we all want to live better with love, peace, and happiness.
Amen. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks for tuning in.